Hello, welcome back to Bebop Review. My name's Andy Shaw. I want to show you this comment I got from J Foster Guitar. Now, I got this more than a month ago, quite a long time ago, but I've been saving it for this video. I know Jay don't mind me saving his comments so we can actually talk about him. He says, "Thanks for the great videos. I do have a question about the first example. I completely understand what you are saying about the A flat being part of an enclosure of the G on the next chord." Now this is from the Ed the Jazzman video. I'll just show you the bit I'm talking about. Right, it's this bit here. Can you see this A flat dropping down to that G? So this is an enclosure, isn't it? You've got A flat, which is half a tone above that G there, and then you've got this F sharp leading up, and this is just an extra note. Now he wants to know why that note there can't be called a flat ninth. Well, the thing is, you can call it a flat ninth, right? What I'm saying is, I don't think it's a flat nine because I've actually got a theory about where these notes come from. And I don't think that's a flat ninth. Personally, it's a bit complicated, this. I'm going to explain it in the Levin and Wilson. But this is wrong. You cannot call that a flat ninth as it is written like that. It can't be called a flat ninth. Right, so let's go and have a look back at what Jay says again. Just a minute. It says, consider that it's an A flat over a G7 chord. Why is it wrong to refer to it as a flat 9 interval? Is it because you're more interested in the voice lead and motion of the line than any given moment of the line? Let's have a look back at it again. No, that's not the reason. I'll tell you the reason why. Before I tell you the reason why, let's just have a look at a Rick Beato video, okay? Right, this is one of those Rick Beato videos where he's talking about bebop. Can you remember? I criticised him and I had all them horrible people leaving nasty comments against me. Well, the thing is, if you look at that note there is a flat ninth. Now, Rick Beato's putting it as a passing tone, or even Britain would call it a passing note, wouldn't we? But in a way, he could call that a flat 9 if he wanted. Why? Because look at the chord symbol. The chord symbol says D7 and in brackets flat 9. Now, that is a correct way to write a flat ninth that can be identified inside a bar on a chord 5 of any key. Now this is in the key of G. He hasn't put the F sharp in there to indicate we're in the key of G, but that is chord 5. He's correctly put the flat ninth in, so now that chord can be called flat ninth. You cannot call a note a flat ninth, right, just by putting D7. You can't just put D7 and then say that's a flat 9. Because D7 is flat ninth is not a natural tension on a D7 chord. I've already told you what the tensions are in an earlier video, right? So if you're going to put a flat 9, you've got to put symbols in. Now this is something I haven't told you about, that we have more than what I told you about in lesson 2 on this course. In lesson 2, I talked briefly about chord symbols. I didn't want to give you too much at the moment, but now I need to talk a bit more about chord symbols. Now, if we go back to that Ed the Jazzman video, there's no flat ninth there, so you cannot call that a flat ninth. How can that be a flat ninth when it's not a natural tension? You've got to say that there is a flat ninth in that chord, so you have to put it in brackets flat ninth. So now what I'm going to do, right, is finish off the chord symbols. So let's go and have a look at the chord symbol part. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in the chord symbols for chromatic music, which we are going to move into in the future. So when you put that flat ninth in there and identify that as flat ninth, you're identifying chromatic music that is a note that is not in key. Remember what chromatic music chromatic music is. Chromatic music is when you have two letter names that are the same name. So you've got an A there and an A there, but they're different. So that's A and that is A flat, which means that you are now playing chromatic music. To indicate chromatic music, you must have the chromatic notes indicated in the chord symbols. So there should be a flat ninth in brackets. Brackets means chromatic music in the chord symbol. And that is why, Jay, you cannot call this a flat ninth in that situation, because the flat ninth is not in the G7 chord, right? Now I would argue against that being called a flat ninth anyway, but just strictly on correct writing, that is wrong. Okay, so now we'll go on at chord symbols and we'll just carry on with chord symbols from, if you want a reminder, you can go back to lesson 2. At the end of that, I actually give you an introduction to chord symbols, but now I just want to carry it on because we're going to be moving into chromatic music in the next video, which will be Berklee level 2. So I need to get you up to scratch on this. Okay, so if you remember from how to Berklee Jazz Harmony lesson 2, this is what we had. The first note of the symbol is called the root note name. That can be anything, any one of the 12 different root notes: C, C sharp, D, E, F, F sharp, G, all that kind of stuff. Or it could be flats: C flat, D flat, E flat, all that kind of stuff. This next bit's important. This is the quality designator. It determines what kind of chord that is. So usually, if this was just a triad chord, you could say C on its own, put that on its own. That's the normal way you write a C major trad. But with this chord, I've put this 11th on, so we need to identify that this trad part of the chord is actually a major trad, not a minor trad, or diminished or augmented. You can have basically 4 quality designators here. You can have a major, a minor, an augmented, or a diminished quality designator, which tells you what kind of trad this is, right? And then this next one here, which is the numerical designator, this is basically telling you what the highest unaltered extension is, right? This is what you've got to put here, the highest unaltered extension. So if the highest unaltered extension was 9, you'd put a 9 there. If it was 7, you put a 7. But what this is telling you now is that this is a C major with a major 7th and then an 11th extension. Remember, this quality designator is now saying that this is a major, total major chord, not a 7th. If you get rid of that quality designator and you put the 11 there, so it's C11, you would have the 7th, the flat 7th of the key. So you would have a C with a B flat and not a B, right? Now, a B flat, right, indicates the key of F, right? So this chord would still be all right, by just naming it C11, because you're saying it's in the key of F. If you're saying it was in any other key, then you would have to put either sharps or flats in this, which means you have to alter this chord symbol. So this is the basic chord symbol for diatonic music, right? Now, when we go into chromatic music, we have to put extensions in. Now, I've just been talking about the flat 9, obviously on those chords. Now, let's just move on a bit. Now, when we put chromatic extensions in, we have everything we've just had here, right? But now we have the stacked alterations. Now, just let me tell you about these stacked alterations. The stacked alterations must be in brackets to indicate that they're not in this key. They're not in C major. Because you have to write everything as though it's in C major, don't you? You know what I mean? Like C major, or whatever chord it's in. If it was C7 chord, you would know automatically that it was a chord 5 of F. So, you know what I mean? If you're not quite getting what I'm saying about this, I mean, it's pretty simple for most people, but if you're not quite getting what I'm saying, you will get it as we go on in this course, because as we go on in this course, I'll be doing this so much that it'll just become second nature to you. Anyway, in this, because these notes are not in the key of what this chord's in, this chord I'm actually saying here is in the key of C major, but it could also be in G. It could be chord 4 of G as well, right? It just depends, you see, what we're actually saying. Now, you can't see any key signature. I haven't put into music and I haven't put it into a key signature, so I'm not actually saying what key this is in, but I'll just say now I'm writing this chord and it is in the key of C major. So it's a C major 11, it's number 1 chord, right? And now we have extensions on this chord, right, of a flat 13 and a flat 5, right? So we've got an A flat and we've got a G flat, haven't we? Right? Now what you do is you always put the highest altered extension at the top, right, in the stacked brackets, and the low one at the bottom, right? If you put it the other way around, it's wrong and it actually looks wrong. So always put the highest note here of what this chord is, this diatonic extension, right? and in the stacked altered extensions, always put the note at the top, the highest note at the top, nice alteration at the top, and then as we go down, you could have flat 9, flat 11, flat 9, right down to flat 5, whatever at the bottom. So these brackets could be quite long actually. Okay, so I hope you get that. If you don't get it, it's pretty simple, but if you don't get it, don't worry, because we're going to be doing so much of this as we go on. I'll try to make it as simple as possible, that, like I say, it'll become second nature to you. Okay, and I'll give you kind of like a test, I suppose, on chord extensions, but we really need to talk more about other things first. So I hope you get that, and I hope this video has not been too complicated to watch. So a very short one actually. So I'll see you in another video. If you don't get it, just keep watching it over and over, and you'll get it. Okay, bye.